Hey, what's going on, Flight Simmers? My name is Rowan and welcome back to the channel. I know I have been vacant for the past few months, but guys, believe it or not, I am back. Now, I have been travelling around in the US of A, seeing family, which is why I have not been present on the channel, and also I have been working quite a lot recently. But anyways guys, I've now got a lot more free time on hand, and I am now able to create more content for you guys. So to kick it off with a bang, we are looking at the Digital Flight Dynamics A350, as the Discord development team has created a new series called Discover 350. Within this, they will be showcasing the A350 and the in-depth systems which they are currently creating. Now, it is quite nice to finally hear some news on the A350 because they have been quite quiet over the past few months, but looking at it, they have been hard at work, as we can clearly see in this video ahead. So to start off, we're going to be looking at some renders which they have released, and thanks to the DFD team, I do have the high quality renders on hand instead of having to extract them from a YouTube video. Now obviously I do have to say these are not in-sim images, and these are renders directly from their rendering software. I believe they are using Blender, I'm not entirely sure, but I am almost certain that they are using Blender. Now, these renders is showcasing the nose landing gear, and the amount of detail which has gone into them is absolutely astonishing, I will have to say. Looking at all the different wires, lighting, it just looks absolutely amazing, and I really hope it looks exactly like this when it is in the sim. So in the video, before they properly look at the aircraft, they do state a few things. Everything for the 350 will be created or handcrafted by the DFD team, meaning that they are not using any pre-existing models, and it is going to be all owned by DFD. Now, they also do state that they are working very closely with pilots, engineers, and many other people who work directly with the A350 to get the aircraft in sim as realistic to real life. With this, they are able to get all the dimensions, resolutions of the screens, and loads of other small minute details which we may not notice, but 100% contributes to that realistic factor. I will also mention that they are not using any of the systems from fly-by-wire, but they are working with them in terms of cross-referencing and also support in terms of development of the aircraft, as also with synaptic simulations, as they mention in the video. So, talking about the actual aircraft, it is amazing to be seeing the 350 in sim at this current stage. Having the majority of the cockpit modelled with some of the systems in place at this current time is just amazing, considering the time frame they've had to create this from scratch. As I think they mentioned before, their first priority was working on the PFD, or the primary flight display, which looks as close as we could possibly say to real life. We can clearly see the custom PFD, speed and altitude tapes, along with the extra information which the 350 will state, and rudder trim and also vertical stabilizer trim. So to finally see a custom PFD which isn't based off of the A320 systems in the sim is just absolutely amazing, and to see it working is so promising in the sim, considering we've been limited to the A320 PFD systems to this current point. Now, they do say that there's a lot of work to be done to this aircraft, as you can also see on the MFD, which is to the right. It's not even built yet, so this doesn't mean that we will be getting the 350 anytime soon. But do remember, it's better to have a perfect or near perfect aircraft than a development staged aircraft which doesn't work, and then people end up not using it anymore and give it a bad rep because it is not complete. Moving on, they are also showcasing the eCam display. Within this display, from what I know, it looks near identical to the 350, and I cannot actually spot any missing information on the left hand side, which we would expect to see on your normal eCam display. So at the top we can clearly see the engine information, so you got your N1 thrust and your engine temperatures, which are all displaying correct information. Below it, we are currently looking at the electrical page. As they state, the A350 runs on two systems, a 115 and a 230 volt system. This is because of the size of the aircraft and for redundancy for the safety systems in the aircraft. And then at the bottom we can see all the statistics of the aircraft. So this includes your air temperatures outside, your flight time, your ground weight and your ground weight centre of gravity and your fuel on board. All of this information appears to be correct, and as they state in the video, it is directly linked with Microsoft Flight Simulation settings. For example, if you was to adjust for fuel in the main Microsoft Flight Simulator settings, it will automatically update in the aircraft. Now on the right hand side, we can see a partially built ECAM memo being the cabin ready, seatbelt signs and portable devices. I do not know what stage they are at with this, but we can see that they are slowly developing this stage now, considering we can see all the basic information. So all of this is very promising, and I cannot wait to see how much more work they can achieve within the next few months. Now going into further details about the systems, they talk about the hydraulics of the aircraft. Now I haven't looked at hydraulics in a very long time, so I'm going to leave it to one of the team members on the video to explain how precise and accurate their systems are which they are currently creating.
As mentioned, at the moment, our hydraulic simulation is still in the physics simulation stage and isn't yet connected to aircraft systems. However, I'll briefly illustrate the level of detail we're capturing. The A350's hydraulic system is a complicated beast. Thus, like the electrical system, we have elected to use a highly flexible physics-based simulation that models fluid movement around the system down to the milliliter dynamically. We simulate each individual fluid chamber, pipe and valve. Here you can see a snapshot of a small example system with fluid and pressure simulation, where the lines are pipes and the circles are chambers of fluid. This uses efficient graph network flow algorithms, so it is very fast to calculate. As an example of the level of detail in the simulation, the movement of each individual piston in the hydraulic pumps is calculated to determine precisely the volume of fluid flowing through the system. To illustrate this system at work, here's a debug rendering of a hydraulic actuator, which are used to extend things like cargo doors and landing gear. There are no special animation formulas or custom tweaked low-pass filters to emulate this movement. We purely use a physics engine and apply the forces from compression of the fluid in the actuator's two chambers. This gives highly realistic behavior, such as the wobbling, automatically. We are also using these actuators on all flight control surfaces, such as ailerons. Therefore, if a hydraulic system fails, the connected actuators would automatically stop working. This means surfaces moving at half speed when appropriate, or drooping once on the ground with all engines off. Once an API is available in the simulator, we also intend to exert aerodynamic forces on the surfaces.
And one of the last points which they do mention in the video is to do with the simulation rate. Now for example, if you are wanting to fly a 15-hour route but you don't have the time for that, they are trying to create the aircraft to be as stable as possible if you were to increase the simulation rate. This means that the burn rate of fuel and other factors should be sped up to the same simulation rate which you end up choosing. So by the time you slow down to your 1 times, meaning you are playing back in real time, you should have the same amount of fuel which you were expected to have if you was to do the full flight without speeding it up. And with that, we have pretty much covered all of the major information which was released by Digital Flight Dynamics in their Discover 350 video. If you do wish to watch the whole video by yourself so you can get a more deeper understanding, as I myself don't have a major technical background, especially when it comes to flight systems like the guys at Digital Flight Dynamics do, then by all means click on the video, I have linked it in the description. But guys, I am super excited for this aircraft, and it looks like they are moving at a very fast pace in terms of development of the aircraft, and I'm so excited for when it is finally released. But that's it guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you do click on that like, subscribe and ding dong that notification bell if you want to help support our channel. With that guys, my name has been Rowan and you have been watching Information Alpha.